Hello and welcome to Focus on Fantasy Romance. This is a show where we talk about books, genre, industry, and other aspects of our geeky lives. I'm your host, Elle. I'm joined today with A.R. DeClerc.
Hello.
And Paulina Woods.
Hi.
And we are going to do a mixer. We're going to talk about an article that Paulina found online called Death of an Author. It was penned by Vanessa Booke, who apparently writes contemporary romance. And I will have the link for the blog post in the show notes. So we all read it, and I had a very distinct reaction to it. But since this is Paulina's article, I wanted her to set us off with her opinion about the Death of an Author. Can you give us a brief kind of synopsis of what she says? Or do you want me to do that?
Sure. Vanessa talks, this whole article is about how she writes her first book, and she's really excited about it. She's able to after a while she's able to quit her job. She's able to do a lot of author things. She was really excited about it. She had a lot of books lined up. This is what she was going to write, and then life happened. She had to return to work. I think it was an illness. I think it was her husband. It was an illness in the family. She had to go back to work. And finally, it got to the point where everything she thought she was going to publish, she kept saying, okay, I'm going to publish on this date. And she wouldn't publish it. Then she goes, well, I'm going to publish on this date. And she wouldn't publish it. So she had readers who were getting mad at her. She was getting mad at herself, and she almost gave up. She's just now started back to being seriously, this is what I'm going to do. When I met her in Rancho Cucamonga at the book signing, I was like, dude, she has it all together. She has her book. And reading this article was kind of like, wait, she's like me. So I guess the Death of the Author is kind of talking about how she almost gave up after getting to the point where she can quit a job and start working, start working full-time author. It had a bunch of setbacks, and she's almost just said, you know what, this isn't worth it. So that's the gist of the article. Eli, you have to turn on your mic. We can't hear you.
Sorry. What part of the article really spoke to you, though? I mean, do you just relate it to everything? Because I know that you still have a day job. I still have a day job. A.R. DeClerc still has a day job, evil or otherwise, as some authors call them. You're not to the point where you've been able to quit your job. So what part of it spoke to you specifically?
I guess the part where I'm looking at the article now, the part that really was when she talked about she published a book, she put it out there, and then she was like, okay, I'm gonna write this other book. She told people about it, and then it didn't come to pass. Not because she didn't want to, it just wasn't there. And it kind of sits with me because I feel like I'm losing my readers, I guess you can say, as I sit and I have like Beauty and Her Beast. I put out 2 episodes, and I was like, well, this is not how I want to write it. I pulled it back, but I'm still struggling to write the last part of it. And, it shows that I have so many downloads of it. I know people are waiting for it. I have people writing about it. And it seems like a little bit of the excitement for my books are kind of dying down because I still haven't put out my 3rd book. I still haven't put out. And at this point in my life, I was kind of thinking, well, should I just give up? Should I just stop? Tell people, it wasn't me. Delete my Facebook, kind of. And this article came at a time when I was kind of going, well, should I give up? And if she can pick herself back up and be like, let's go, maybe, I'm thinking, well, maybe I can too. I don't have as big a readership as she does, but it still comes down to the point of, do you keep going or do you give up? And with her actually pushing through it, it kind of gives me hope for myself, kind of going, okay, let's pick myself back up. So that's kind of where it touched me at, was the point that I saw family got in the way, this got in the way, but she's still able to say, let's keep going.
Okay. So As I mentioned before, I still have a day job. I work in banking, and I have a novel out, 2 short stories. You know, I don't have a huge platform. I don't have a lot of work out, and I don't expect to be able to quit my job anytime soon. And after doing, I procrastinate by doing research. So after doing a lot of research, I've come to terms with the fact that I may never be able to quit my job, like quit completely. I might be able to go to something part-time, but so that's kind of where I'm approaching this. And then I read the part where she said that she was trying to adopt the publishing model that other people have been successful with, which is to publish a book every month. And like a lot of authors, I have issues, and I have anxiety disorders, and I'm definitely introverted. So I've learned early on not to overextend myself, because then I feel exhausted. And I think that she was trying to model her path after other people, and I know personally I cannot do that. I cannot be one of those authors that writes a book a month. Even if I didn't have a job, even if my kids had their own nanny, I just can't produce that way, because it stifles my creativity. And she was talking about in the article how when she did push herself, she pushed out a book that she felt wasn't her top quality, and then it stifled everything else. And then she posted about missing her own deadlines, and that's a big pet peeve for me, is missing my own deadlines. I never set a deadline if I know that I can't make it. And with publishing, it's not just me. I have an editor, I have a cover artist, I have beta readers. So I don't set deadlines until I know that I'm past the point where I'm relying on other people. So that kind of frustrated me, that she was like, oh, I set a deadline for this and I missed it. And I set a deadline for this and I missed it. And I understand that, you know, you have good intentions and you want to get your work out there, but I think that she pressured herself too much, and she set herself up for failure. And it's really harsh. It's a harsh thing to say, but you can't push yourself beyond your own capabilities, or you're just going to be miserable. I always say that comparison is the thief of joy. So even though I have author friends who are way more successful than I am, they can produce way more than I have the ability to do, I sit there and tell myself comparison is a thief of joy. If I keep comparing myself to other people who I see are successful, or just a little farther down their career path than I am, I'm never going to be happy. I'm never going to be satisfied with where I am or who I am. So I think that she needs to take a step back. And I realize that she's trying to be the breadwinner in the family, and there are some other situations out of her control, but she needs to step back and figure out what she can comfortably do as far as writing. And it sounds like she can do one every 6 months, and that's actually not bad. That's really good if you're writing a novel. If you're writing shorter pieces, then you can probably do it more often. A lot of people that are writing a book a month, they're not writing a book, they're writing a novella. They're writing 20,000 words, and they're throwing it in Kindle Unlimited. That's not, there's a totally different process between writing a novella and writing a novel, because there's so much more going on. You'll have more characters, more world building. Yeah, it's just it's a different animal, totally. So, you know, she needs to find a schedule that she can work with. And then she was complaining that she couldn't afford her editor, which is a very real problem. I've had to make some decisions where I've used a different editor than what I preferred, or I went with a publisher because I couldn't afford to publish myself. But those are all business decisions. So you need to distance yourself from the love of writing and realize that if you want to quit your job, you have to treat it like a business. So if you need to slow down your production until you've paid for book 1 before you edit book 2, then that's what you need to do. So I know Amy wanted to go last because she was afraid that she was going to be a little harsh, but that was kind of my gut reaction to that, is to slow down. And if you're truly concerned about quality and you want to work with a specific editor, find yourself a part-time job or go back to work and save up until you can put out the quality product that you want. So Amy, do you have anything to add to that?
I think Paulina wanted to say something before I put my 2 cents in, so I'll let her say what she needs to say first.
Okay, just back to the topic. She does work a full-time job. But on the topic of editing, it's stressful. I understand like where she comes from with that one, because I haven't put out book 3. It's done. Like I'm done. There's nothing else I can do to it. I have to send it back to editors. That's $100 and something that I don't have. And so I have people asking me all the time, hey, when is book 3 coming out? Are you done with book 3? Is this? And I think that adds to the stress of not being able to produce. Because I was thinking today, I was like, well, what if I just produce it without sending it to the second edit, just send it to to beta reading and then send it out. And I'm just like, wait, do I really want to go through that step again that I went through with book 2 when I first put it out and I had to pull it off? So, I mean, I can kind of understand where that kind of stress comes from. Like, and I don't want to send it to a different editor because I already paid for 2 rounds of edits, or I already paid half of my round of edits, if that makes any sense. So I totally understand that part. Okay, Amy, your turn.
Okay. So the reason I wanted to go last is because when I read this article, I had a very visceral gut reaction to the person writing this story. And I don't want this to come off like I'm harsh on someone because, everybody has their own feelings and their own justification to do. And her life is her life, and I don't know what her experiences are. I'll just tell you kind of where I'm coming from and why the article affected me the way that it did. So everybody who starts out writing, they always write this story and they're like, they want to publish, and it's hopefully for the love of the story, for the characters, for the story itself. Everybody has that, hope that readers are going to love their story the way they do, and you put it out and, everybody likes it. This person was lucky enough to find a large number of people, apparently, who really enjoyed her work, who bought it. And obviously, from what she says in the story, selling hundreds of copies a day. And she spent a lot of time and money on marketing, a lot of energy on marketing. The gun a little bit with quitting her job, because if I all of a sudden sell a ton of books, I'm still not going to quit my job, because this is like any other job out there where you're selling something. Tomorrow, the next big thing could come along, and what you have is the old, nobody wants it. So I think that authors in general have to look at this as a long game. I mean, we always talk about publishing being the long game, and we're not playing the short game. We're playing for, we're hitting for the first try, and it's awesome if you get there, but not everybody does. But if you get the green on the first try, that does not mean that the next time you go, you're going to get the green. And I feel like she jumped the gun a little bit, and she snowballed into this spiral of self-pity and despair that really just ate her up. And other things happened. Her husband lost his job, and they had some illnesses in the family, and those things are unfortunate, but I don't think she really thought it through before she quit her job. And then to come back and say, I need to really fast, I almost feel like she sold out. She sold out the idea of quality over quantity to make money. And when you do that, you never make money. Never make money like that. Scammers make money like that. Pirates make money like that. But real authors don't make money like that. If you're putting out a poor product, you're not going to make money. You're going to put out something that doesn't sell, and then you're going to into your pit of despair. And Paulina has been there. She pulled her book down for more editing. I've been there. I pulled my first novel that I published down for further editing. We've all been there. It's not, the quality's not what we want it to be. We make arrangements for that and move on. I don't feel like that this person should get any more of my pity than any other author out there, because she was selling hundreds of copies a day, and now all of a sudden she's not. Okay, there are literally thousands of us out there on that same boat. We're all in the same boat. And so yeah, okay, like, now you want to sell yourself out and try to follow in the footsteps of these other people who's, you know, because clearly I'm not a fast writer. Okay, so you know your quality's going to suffer, but you'd rather try to make cash than go get a job and go back to writing on the side and put out a quality book and build yourself back up. And I understand that it's hard because she shifted her whole world. You know, you quit your full-time job, you start to write full-time, and then this stuff happens and you're like, now what do I do? Do I go back? Do I stay here? What do I do? I just feel like she sold out. It really bugged me. It really made me to think that this person said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna slap out some books, and they might not be that great, but I'll make some cash. That is the one thing that, pardon my language, pisses me off more than anything else. And she was probably at that point where she's like, okay, if I want to keep my readership, if I want to keep these people, you know, I've got to do this. But I think as authors, we need to understand, like, it's like, you know, you say bond. Well, your words are your bond. You're telling your readers with every word, with every novel that you put out, with every book that you put out, you're telling them how much love you have for them, for your genre, for your story. Slapping out something that's crappy just to make a quick buck, that's where she lost her people. It's not in missing deadlines. It's not in doing all this other stuff. People can tell. I mean, readers, and I, like I said, I don't know this person. That was just my gut reaction to the article, was like, oh, okay, so that's what I should start doing then, is if I want to make a quick buck, I just put out a book a month. It might not be, but I'll put it out because, you know, that's how I make money. And I want to quit my job too. Hell, don't we all want to quit our jobs? Like, I don't really, because I love my job and I'm in healthcare and I work with great people, but every writer full time. But I don't think you should sacrifice, like, the quality of your work and your love for the story to make a quick buck either. I understand you got to pay your bills, but I mean, that's like, I don't know, it frustrated me. So that's all I wanted to say about it is I tried not to be too bitchy about it. It just gut reaction. I'm just like, I didn't feel her. I wasn't liking where she was coming from with the pity, the poor me story, because we're all in your boat, lady. I'm not a best-selling author. I'm not selling 100 copies a day either. But, you know, I get it and I understand it too. So I also feel sorry for her on the other hand, because she did quit her job and she did do all these things with high expectations and high hopes, and it didn't work out for her. So that was unfortunate. Okay, so now you heard what I thought about the article, and whatever you guys want to pick up with.
Okay, well, I guess we all went in with high expectations. I mean, when I first put out my first book, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit. I had like 4 or 5 readers that are still dedicated readers contact me. They love my book. I lost 3 or 4 other ones when book 2 came out, and they were just like, this is a piece of crap. And I mean, if I sent you the first copy of book 2 that I actually put out, you guys would be like, you did not publish this. Like, I'm embarrassed to admit that I published it. But in my head, I was like, well, if I can get book 2 out, I can get book 3 out, I can get book 4 out. I mean, I wanted to get all books out in, you know, a certain amount of time. That way I can have money. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna buy a house, I can get out of debt, and then reality hit. And you know, reality feels like a bitch. And so like it was just like, wait, I'm still in debt. I still live in an apartment. I still live paycheck to paycheck, you know. And so like I guess to me, like just thinking about it, I was like, there's so many of us out here that's like that. But hey, you know what? I love writing. And like right before this episode, I was finishing up my Beauty and the Beast, and I'm just like, you know, are people still gonna want to read it? And I went over to Insta Freebie. People are still downloading it. And I'm like, okay. Good job, people. I haven't even put episode 3 up. But I noticed it led to other sales. So I think I'm gonna keep writing, I'm gonna keep doing it. And this other people might have got angry at the article, but it kind of pushed me in the right direction. It made me go, hey, you know what? This is not something that I'm going through by myself. Others are going through it. Others are gonna, you know, I have someone I can say, hey, you know what? Let's help each other out. And I kind of like how a lot of authors are now helping each other out with the newsletters. They're helping them on their websites, helping them on their blogs. You know, like we're banding together because we're learning that we're learning that it's not only us out there anymore. We can't be an island to ourselves, and especially as self-publishers, we depend on each other. If we're not there for each other, then who else is going to be there for us? Even small publishers, it's the same thing as indie publishers. And it's kind of funny to see the world, I mean, to see like who's banding together. You know, yeah, there's little clicks and clacks because, come on, we're all human, basically. But I'm happy to see like you two are like, you know, we talk almost all day. And, you know, I have people I can call like Renee, and I can say, hey, you know what? I'm having a horrible time. She can, hey, pick yourself up. Shut up. You know, like it's kind of nice to see them all there together. And I think, you know, with her support group, that maybe this article is going to generate the support group that she needs to say, hey, you know what? Let's stick together. Let's do this. So this was putting it out there. I could never do it. I honestly, I was reading her article and I was like, I could never write this article because I would like burn it, you know, and it's on my computer. I just burn my computer because it's so personal. It's so, she put herself out there saying, hey, look, I've missed deadlines because I tried to push myself like other authors. And honestly, some of those authors, one of them, I read her books. Don't get me wrong. I read one series. Every other series just sucks. And I found out why. That series, she went through a publisher where they had her publish them almost a year behind each other. And the other one, she publishes in 2 months. And her husband edits. And I'm just like, you suck. So, like, she lost me as a reader in that aspect. So, like, I hope she doesn't. I'm pretty sure she won't. Because, you know, I like I said, I've talked to her. But, yeah, that selling out, not the best way to keep readers. The good readers, if you want to say it that way. You can keep your diehard readers, but you always want to catch those readers. You know, there's how many people on the planet? You want to catch the rest of them. So that each release is a little bit better than the other. Okay, I'll keep talking all day. So that will, yeah.
Well, I think that if anything, the article can kind of serve as a cautionary tale for anyone that's at the beginning of their career as to the ups and downs in the industry. And there's always going to be ups and downs. The industry has changed so drastically in the last 10 years that you've got traditional publishing, they're still spinning their wheels doing the same old thing, and you've got people that are writing a book a month and making 6-figure income, and they don't need traditional publishing. So, I mean, there's a spectrum of success all through the different pathways, but you have to realize that, like with anything that depends on sales, it's going to be hit or miss. You're going to have highs and lows. So perhaps she jumped the gun by quitting her job too quickly. We don't know. I don't know what kind of a brand recognition she had built up before she actually went that route. I don't know what kind of debt she had. I don't know what kind of living situation she had or dependence, you know. But like, I think this could be a good cautionary tale that don't rush yourself. Don't sacrifice your quality for quantity, because it will always come back and bite you. I've had reviews where they're like, well, there's a typo, so I love this book, but 3 stars. Okay. I had 3 people look at it, no one caught the typo, but okay. So I think everyone needs to realize that their publishing path is going to be unique. It's going to be different, and they need to do something that they can accommodate comfortably, and still be able to live with themselves. Because if I honestly, there's no way I could do a book a month. And I've had months where I said, I've told my readers via my newsletter, like, look, I know I said that I was trying to get this done this month, but XYZ came up, or my kids have been sick all week because they went back to school. I think that if she had leveled with her audience and said, look, this is what's going on. I'm a real person with real problems. I would love to get this book to you that it still rocks without sacrificing quality. So I think the article can really be a cautionary tale, and kudos to her for throwing herself out there, for bearing her soul like that. But with anything you post on the internet, you're going to get favorable responses and not so favorable responses. And I honestly read it and I was like, well, it happens. Amy?
Yeah, that was kind of my reaction too, is like, it doesn't matter what job you're in. You could be selling stocks on Wall Street, and tomorrow the stock market. These are things that happen, and there are cautionary tales, and this is one of them. It's, these are the things that can happen when you're in an unstable market, and the fact of the matter is up and down. It's across the board something that's in transition. It's constantly changing, and it's very mutable. What is popular today could be, trash tomorrow. There's no telling, really, unless you have foresight or extremely good, marketing vision to know what's going to be the next big thing. And I feel found herself in, this mire of self-doubt and self-pity, and the fact that she lost readers because she sacrificed her quality for quantity because she felt like that's what she needed. Fortunate. And I think we can all take a little bit away from it in the long run. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth, because if you're selling today, you really need to appreciate the fact that those readers are buying tomorrow. They may not buy your next book. Just because they bought your first book does not mean they'll buy your second, your third, your fourth. It's not something that is always guaranteed. And, you have your long famous, quote unquote, famous authors that everybody thinks of, and they sell tons of copies all the time, and they have slow months, and they have books that don't do well, and they, are the same boat. And so I think that's, a lump that you take when you decide you want to be a writer, is that you are a little bit hardened to the fact that sometimes you sell, or your readers aren't going to be there, maybe like they were for your first book, your third book, or whatever. But I think we're all growing the community, in the indie community, the small publishing community, because of things like this, so that people don't get burned out, people don't get stuck in a hole. You have people you can talk to, advice from, and I think that's a good thing that comes out of the instability in the indie market right now, is the fact that we all have to kind of band together. And it's like Paulina, and there are groups that do their own thing, but in the long run, I think we're all trying to go for the same goal. So nobody wants to see anyone fail. I mean, that's for sure.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've seen some that do, but that's just me.
You've seen some people that fail?
No, I've seen some people that get off it, seeing others fail, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're always going to have a few people that don't understand that if, someone's success is everyone's success. But that's a deeper problem, where they, it's the person that has to put other people down to feel good about themselves, or they'll never actually achieve success that way. Or if they do, they won't be happy with it. And I think that's a whole nother discussion. So we're actually reaching the top of the hour. My children are restless. So I think we can wrap it up here. Did we want to do news because this is a mixer? Because I think the intention is next week to do an interview where we don't do news.
He's popping his chest.
He is. Is that a yes to news, no to news?
I really don't have any news to put out right now, so I'm good.
We have news about our anthology. Share news. Share news. We're working on it.
We are really close. I want to have it enrolled in a promotion that I think the deadline is the 22nd. So, so we're going to put out an anthology that has 3 stories, one by each of us. They're all fantasy romance, and the theme is Reflections of Love. So we all took that theme and ran with it and our own interpretation. I think it turned out very well. So we're doing copy edits, and then I got to format and get it up on, I want to do draft to digital and then get it up on Amazon. And it's a freebie, so I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't read it. It's on Goodreads now, so if you use Goodreads, you can add that to your to-be-read list. And it's only going to be available for 6 months, and then it comes down. So that will have to be something that you want to grab. So that's our collective news. I got the results for the Roan Awards. That's done by Indie Tale, Indie Scribe. And I won my category for fantasy. So I am super excited about that. I did not get to go to the award show, but I'm glad I didn't go to the award show because I probably would have passed out because I think you have to accept an award. There may have been speech. I don't know. I don't know what was going on there. I would have not handled that very well because lots of people and I'm an introvert. So I should have my physical award sometime next week, and I got my little badge. I'm going to put it on my cover, and I can say I'm an award-winning author. Super excited. So big news.
You might want to make your face catch up with your excitement.
Whatever. Just zip it. I can be as excited or unexcited as I want to be. I don't have to. I don't have to cater to you.
Hold on, this is what you look like. I'm really excited. Yeah.
No, I'm not a jumpy around screamy person. I'm not that person. So I'm gonna be me, and this is my excitement level.
This is
you have to deal with it. I think we're done. Does anyone have any news?
Not particularly, no.
Okay, so if you like the podcast, you can subscribe on iTunes. Leave a comment, leave a review. We have a website called focusonfantasyromance.wordpress.com. Visit us there, leave a comment. We like comments. And we will see you in a week or so, unless something comes up. And hopefully we will be doing an interview of AR to Clerk, unless something else comes up. So I will wish you all a good night.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Night.